this desk with a rat full of lice, and I plop it down on this desk, and I say, "Here's my next project, and it may cost you 50 or 100,000. I'm going to take off tomorrow and fly business class anywhere, and I'm going to go and maybe a 40%, 2 out of 5, I'll connect. And when I do connect, you're going to have extra fact checkers on it because it's going to be a tough story to check." And then you're going to have the lawyers understand, your lawyers, that you're going to get 4 or 5 threats from law firms. And then you're going to lose readers. So is it a wonder when I left it, I left after they shoved me into another job, that when I left, there was everybody go. And at the New York Times, when I started getting bitching about coverage of corporations, it was get out of here. And at the AP, at the New Yorker, I was very tough on a bunch of Obama stories. Obama didn't tell Obama, Obama was just a pal looking for re-election. I'm very down on Obama. I think
I called Obama out at the very beginning. Again, I call him the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner.
Well, I was worried.
Look what he did to Libya. Look what he did to Syria. I want that guy Assad out of there. You grew up around the mob. I want that guy Gaddafi out of there. I mean, come on.
Well,
look at that.
For me, it was really simple. This 2 days into the presidency, he signed an executive order to close Guantanamo.
Yeah.
And at Guantanamo, the Bush-Cheney White House had somebody from the CIA after 2 months there, but there was so many worry about this madness that was going on, the torture of prisoners. R&R, they were mandated by the Red Cross International, 1 hour for prisoners, 1 hour a day. And so they would put people in a straitjacket and throw them out into a little square grassy area in 110 degrees for an hour. That was the R&R. I mean, I learned stuff very early about it. And so when he said I was going to close it and he didn't do it, was for me.
I began, without going into it, I began my career running political campaigns in Westchester County. I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate at 26 years old. I got on the inside, very quickly. And I've been with presidents, prime ministers, and princes in my lifetime. And to me, the people running in politics, these are the people I hated in high school and college and wanted to be class president. How could anybody with a pair of cojones bigger than a mothball look up to a Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, a little Chucky Schumer? Look at the little clowns telling us what to do. I mean, look at these little jerks that tell us what to do with their arrogant attitude. I just want to make one point about your article, by the way. One thing that wasn't mentioned is that, and maybe I missed it, energy, this is from Business Insider on August 13th, 2022. Energy traders are making a killing exporting U.S. natural gas to Europe as prices soar, with some single shipments bringing in $200 million.
Right.
That chart shows you the increase of America's exports going to Europe following the sanctions and then the bombing.
Well, that wasn't my story, but I do know something about it because Germany's been building LNG they call it, facilities, but they're not coming as fast as they think. As a way of storing gas, and we were charging, I think, 3 and 4 times more. That's American, that's the American way. It's capitalism, but they also got what kept them going a little bit, made it a little easier for them. After the pipeline was blown up this fall and winter, China had a bad year because of COVID, and they had a lot of LNG, and they sold the LNG cheaper. But I watched I watched some of the journal you mentioned. I know that some of the people in there, they have probably the best reporting on energy that you want to get is in that. Energy. It's an amazing group. There's a wonderful woman who used to be the editor there. They're very competent. But my story wasn't that. My story was about what to do. But I am going to do.
But could that have been another reason?
Watch this space. I know what you're talking about. And by the way, I want you to get a link to that article you sent, okay. and I haven't blown I've got a terrible head cold.
All right.
I got to tell you something. Nobody has old-fashioned cold anymore. It's either COVID or the flu I got, I just got a cold like I used to get when I was a kid. And you remember them? You used to get a headache, and then your nose ran, and it didn't stop you from talking, and it didn't stop you from going to the playground and all that stuff. And yellow snot all over. I remember that. The nice thing about growing up, the nice thing I gotta hold on. The nice thing about that's one of my kids. The nice thing about growing up in Chicago, all the seasons were there we have very little. We were lower middle class. As I said, my parents spoke pretty good English, but their basic communication was otherwise. They Russian, Ukrainian. They had a lot of languages, Polish, and but in the summer we had a backyard that was big enough to play football in, and then in winter, by Thanksgiving, we poured water into it and we skated. Wow. So I was playing hockey all winter, like a Canuck. And not good, but we skated. We went and we chopped each other up, and so it was a different world then. And we didn't have little leagues and all that stuff. I mean, I did all those things. I coached soccer for 15 years here.
Wow!
I do all that obligatory stuff parents did, but we did everything ourselves then. And not that this. My kids are great. They're perfectly out there. They're absolutely competent, but it was fun. You learn really to survive. Yeah. Chicago's a tough place. It was just fun, and so Kagan and not Kagan, but his wife and Lincoln and this Jake. They don't muss my hair one bit. I don't care what they.
Arrogant.
This is not going to be good to them. He's not going to be good to Newland for what she did in 2014 because we overthrew a government.
Yep.
And that led to that's the core of this.
And also, you have her quotes. You have her quotes bragging about the blowing up of the pipeline.
Oh my God, junk in the bottom of the sea.
Yeah.
What I tell you. Anyway.
Thanks a lot, man.
Hey man.
By the way, Chicago, I used to say there were 2 seasons in Chicago: winter and August.
Do you remember? I'll tell you what. There was nothing worse. I was working for City News. I had about a 10-year-old Studebaker, and the Hawk, we used to call it, off the lake. I lived in Hyde Park. My father's family was on the south side. We lived near the Lake Michigan, and the wind, when it was -4 by temperature, was -15. I spent every winter for about 2 years working with that crappy car. I had to go out every 4 hours and start it because if I slept from 12 to 8, even if I was hungover like crazy, I had to start because the wind started, it would freeze. So I remember that's I got to tell you, when you're 21 or 22 and you're free at last. I'm not running the store. My mom's gone. I didn't know what freedom was. My favorite book I wrote about this once was the Adventures of Augie March. It was all about a kid in Chicago who wasn't making it like me. And it was hardcore. You probably had much more money in your family than I did. Come on.
There were 5 of us living in 2940 Hone Avenue in the Bronx, right off the Boston Post Road. And there were 5 of us with my brothers, 3 of us in one room, my 2 sisters in another room, and my parents in another room. You
did the same life. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Goodbye. I'm getting off.
Thanks a lot, man. It was really great. It's an honor, and thank you for all the great
stuff. I want to see that magazine because
put you on the mailing list. Yeah. Again, I've been at this a lot of years, and I put my heart into it.
All right. Yeah. Good. I want to see it. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, man.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.